behavioral patterns for boys who grow up without fathers. Behavioral patterns for boys who grow up without fathers. There are two different categories of these boys that grew up without a father. Two categories of patterns how they behave, how they react to that. Okay, there are two forms of reaction, two categories of reaction, two categories of behavior on how children and even adults behave when they grow up without a father. So the first category is the category of, let's just use temperament to gauge it, all right? So if we talk about the first two temperaments, the choleric and the sanguine, they are the more active, more open, more people-oriented, more extrovert kind of people. So because these people are more extrovert, they tend to release anything they are feeling, anything they are experiencing, they seem to release it outside. And that is why the behavioral pattern that they manifest is what we call the aggressive, proactive kind of behavior. So it is the aggressive manifestation of their dissatisfaction. It's an aggressive manifestation of their lack of satisfaction. It's an aggressive manifestation of their pain. So everything they are feeling inside, they manifest it more outwardly, more extrovertly, more aggressively, more visibly, so much that it is visible. So those are the kind of people that I was busy talking about. But today, I want to begin to talk about the second category of men or boys that grew up without a father. Now, these are totally different. This is a different category of boys altogether, and these are totally different type of men. So these men or boys who grew up without a father, they behave differently, and they have different patterns of behavior. So men that grow up without fathers, they behave. Maybe they are, like the one they said, they could have a male present in the house. They could have a so-called father in words, or in physical in present physically, but it's not really present. Not really present there officially. It's not really there. So this is the second category of people that I'm going to be talking about. But somebody sent me a film about these boys, this first category that I spoke about, the aggressive boys who grew up without a wife, who grew up without a father. And this film is very telling. I don't know if I'm not sure I have the permission to show it, but I think I will just show it.
Also, and we also have 5 other men who have multiple children with different women. Nathaniel.
This will be a great confirmation.
28. How many women?
16.
Terrence.
4 children.
This will be a great confirmation of what I've been teaching you. But please listen to it again. I want you to listen to this film, to watch this film. Please be attentive.
Jay is here also. And we also have 5 other men who have multiple children with different women. Nathaniel. Stand up. How many children?
28.
How many women?
16.
Terrence.
4 children
with
2 different women.
Yeah. Ryan.
Almost 5 children with 4.
Almost 5.
Yes,
now talk to me about an almost 5.
I have another baby due November 22nd.
So 4 children.
4 children.
How many mothers?
4 different women.
4 different women.
Yes.
And you got a baby on the way. Okay. And John?
6 baby mothers, 11 children.
11 children. And Jumani?
I have 6 children with 4 different women.
4 different women.
Yes, ma'am.
Now here's what I want us to get. That these men collectively have 87 children, that includes Jay, with 50 different women. That is 137 people who are impacted by choices and decisions that you've made. No heat, no judgment. I've got some stats for you. Children who come from fatherless homes. And I say fatherless because 6 men, 87 kids, even if you're there are pieces that are going to be missing. Would that be accurate? And I'm not saying you're not doing the best you can. I'm not saying that you don't want to be there. But at this point now, we have to look at the children's experience. Children from fatherless homes in this country, 5 times more likely to commit suicide than children who have a father in the home. 32 times more likely to run away. 20 times more likely to have a behavioral disorder. 14 times more likely to become sexually aggressive or commit rape. 10 times more likely to engage in drug abuse. It just breaks my heart. No heat, no judgment. You, to me, are the voice and the demonstration that's going to create a healing in this world. We have got to do better. We've got to do better. And what I'm offering is that it's time for brothers to start fathering each other. I want you to repeat and complete this for me, okay? Today, I'm struggling.
I am struggling.
Between boyhood and manhood.
Between boyhood and manhood.
And that makes me feel, look at me.
I mean, at times helpless.
Okay, and that makes me feel helpless. Okay, take a breath. Do I need to come closer to you? Okay, no. Really, you are it, baby. Come on. You're it. Come here. I want you to get behind him. I want you to get behind him. Turn around. Turn around. I want you to back him up. I want him to know that you got his back.
Sure.
I'm a father of 28 children. Repeat that for me.
I'm a father of 28 children.
And I wake up every day.
And I wake up every day.
And I feel. You can do this.
Own your emptiness, brother. When you wake up every morning, you feel empty.
When I think about my 11 children, repeat that. When I think
about my 11 children, I feel helpless. I'm full of shame and guilt. I'm bitter. You know.
Let me talk to you as a woman, as a single mother. I gave you the most intimate part of who I am as a woman. I opened my soul to you when I allowed you to lay with me. And I trusted you. I trusted that you would be there. I trusted that you were the promise that my daddy never gave me. I trusted you with my soul, with my body, with my being. I trusted you, and you left me. And not only did you leave me, but you left me here with this child. Just like you don't know who you are, I don't know who I am. And now I've got a child, and I've got to figure it out. And you tell me that you get to go off and figure it out and have other women, and I'm here with your child. I don't get to go figure it out. That's where she is.
All of them, though? Yes. Even the ones that we weren't in a relationship with?
Doesn't matter. You were my promise. I opened myself to you. I gave you all of who I am. And you get to go off and find yourself with other women. And I'm left here with your child. What do you say to her? Say it to me. 2 words. 2 words. Forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me.
Forgive me.
Forgive me. What am I forgiving you for? Forgive me for
not being your promise.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes.
That lady, I don't know what her name is, but she's doing a wonderful job. That is just a picture of one of the things we are going to deal with in Nigeria. That's why we are going to use a lot of television when we get back home to Nigeria, to Africa. And those programs must be international like these ones too. So we need a lot of television experts, we need a lot of producers, we need a lot of film directors. Is her name Inyola? Inyola seems like a Nigerian name. Actually, it's a Nigerian name. If it is Inyola, if it is written well, that is a Nigerian name. How did she get that name? I know she's not a Nigerian. So anyway, she is brilliant. She is just brilliant. She is brilliant. She is she got it right. Although maybe she didn't have enough time to go into the subject as deep as I've been doing all these weeks. Or maybe she doesn't know as much as I've been teaching you. She might not know as much as you people are now knowing, because it's not enough that we all be taught these things. It's not enough that you all know these things. More than knowing it, you have to do something with it. Now that you people have this information, you must now do something with these teachings. And that is what she has done. So what she did is she discovered this problem. She discovered the problem and made it into a program. I see that this is one of my plans for sure. I see that I see that we are going to be doing things like this. But this is a program that is value-oriented, that is result-oriented, that is talking about real-life issues. Unfortunately, people are looking at those men and they are thinking, oh, these are horrible cases, these are horrible situations. How can they do that? How can they do that? It's very simple how to do that. It's very simple how to do that. How that can happen? Because they didn't have a father themselves. They didn't have a father. They didn't have a father. There are some things that that lady couldn't get right. Like for example, anyway, we shouldn't talk about what she didn't get right. I think the most important thing is that she got it right by picking on that topic, by raising that topic. But you people on this platform, you know that problem now. You know the reason why. But let me just tell you something that they all missed out on. When they asked the guy, what do you feel when you wake up in the morning? Somebody said, okay, you feel empty. So he repeated it. He said empty. Then he said shame. But in the middle of the talk, he also said anger. That's it. Anger that his father was not there. Anger that he has that voidness in him. Anger that he doesn't know how to fill that void. Anger that is worse or is inferior to some other children. Anyway, a lot of other things to talk about. Now today, I'm beginning to talk about the second category of men who grew up without a father. How do they behave? What is the difference between them and the ones that are aggressive? What is the difference between this first category that we just saw the film on and the second category that I'm going to be talking about? Now, the second category that I'm going to be talking about, they don't behave like that. They don't behave like that. The people that behave like that go about conquering women and having children and multiple children, multiple wives and all that, that is coming from boys or men who grew up without a father but are in the first category. They are in the category of choleric. They are in the category of aggressive, proactive, strong men, strong boys. And they are probably choleric or sanguine. But the second category is totally the opposite. The second category is that category of boys that grew up without a father, they have slightly different manners, slightly different patterns of behavior. They are rather, on the opposite, they are rather more quiet. They are quiet. They also have their anger. They also have anger inside, but they express it differently because they are more in the category, if we are going to talk about temperament, they are in the category of, if those two other ones, the first group, they are in the category of choleric and sanguine. These other ones, they are normally in the category emotionally or temperamental-wise, they are in the category of phlegmatic and melancholic. So they are more phlegmatic and melancholic. So these are the kids, even though they grow up with our fathers, these are the kind of kids that they call good boys, good child. So, you know, they are the quiet children, they are the quiet boys. I'm talking about boys mainly, but girls could also see themselves in this. But they are the quiet ones, they are the obedient children, they are the children that, even though they didn't have a father, and they are also feeling the voidness, they are also feeling the anger, they are also feeling the emptiness, that the father was not there to affirm them, that the father was not there to establish them, to bring them the assurance that they needed as a boy or as a man in future. Even though the father was not there to bring that, and they also feel that need, they also feel that loss, but they don't express it quite the same way. They express it differently. They are so intimidated that they cannot talk. They are so afraid, and they are afraid of punishment. They are always afraid of being reprimanded. They are always afraid of being punished. They are always afraid of being beaten or being punished. They are always timid and intimidated. And instead of expressing it aggressively and violently, like the first category, they don't do that. They go inside themselves and they live from inside, and they are more quiet, and they are more they look like they are good kids, and they study well. Some of them study well, some of them do well in class, but they only, not just in class, but in behavior, they do what the teachers tell them. These kind of children need a leader all the time. So they always follow a leader. They always respect leaders, and the leaders are always liking them, and they just do what people tell them to do. But there is a bigger problem there. How did they become like this? This kind of good kids or good boys they could also be called something else. They could also be called mommy's boy or mommy's child. I don't know. Is that the way people say it in English in the West? When a man or a boy is supposed to, it's not a boy. It's not when a man is supposed to be a man, he's supposed to be on his own, but he's still a mommy's boy. He's a man, he's grown up, but he's still a kid. He's still like, drawn to his mother, and he's still, I think mama's boy. Okay. So these are the kind of people we call mommy's boy or mama's boy. And what that means is that because they were raised up by their mommy, and their mothers raised them up alone, there are two ways that their mother raised them up, and what would the problem they could be. This second category, remember we are talking about second category now. I'm not talking about the violent, the aggressive, the active ones. I'm talking about the quiet ones. The mama boys, how did they become like that? They become like that because, first of all, because they have a different temperament. Secondly, they become like that because they are introvert, because of they are more introvert rather than extrovert. Thirdly, they become like that because in some cases, in the effort of the mothers to achieve obedience from these boys, in the effort of the mom to cause them to be obedient, mommies always use force, brute, to make their children obedient. So you see those kind of mommy that are shouting instead of sitting down coolly. And that's the difference between a man and a woman. A woman is always using emotion. So most of these mothers who are single mothers, and especially if they are not having just one child, if they are having more than one child, most of the time these mothers end up bringing up these children up by shouting at them, screaming at them, or beating them. So because they are mainly beating them, they are mainly shouting at them, they are mostly, punishing them. So what they have decided, what they have succeeded in doing is that they have succeeded, or those mothers succeed in morally breaking the boy. They morally break the boys. So even though to submission, of course, because can you imagine, and you can understand the woman. Can you imagine a woman that is a single mother? She has to go to work. She has to take care of herself. She has to take care of that child. She has to do everything. She has to take care of the house. She has to take care of order. Everything is on her. So because everything is on her, she just wants to get quick results. And the greatest thing a mother could have in that situation is obedient. It's obedient children. So because she needs obedient children, she ends up, she doesn't want to waste time trying to sit down and trying to explain every time to the baby or to the son or to the daughter that this is what how you should do, how you should behave. She uses force to attain the result that she needs. She uses force. And most of the time, because she's in a hurry, so she ends up just shouting at the babies and at the children, at the boys or girls, and just making them to obey. Hey, who did I tell? Well, come on here, do. But you don't raise godly children. You don't raise successful children by shouts. You don't raise successful children by screaming at them. And another thing that those mothers do is they just beat them. They beat them anyhow, especially because they are always frustrated. These mothers are mostly always frustrated themselves. They are angry. They have their own anger and frustration. So those mothers keep on, releasing that anger and that frustration on those children, and the boys in particular, because they want them to be submissive. So what ends up happening is that, like I said, the first category, they run away to the street, okay? They run away to the street, they begin to misbehave there and get a leader for themselves there. But they are the second categories of children that remain at home. They are afraid to go to the street. They are not so convenient in the street. They are not so confident enough to go to the street. They are not so extravagant enough to go to the street. So they would rather remain in the house. So the only option for them when they remain in the house is to be obedient to their mother. The only option left is for them to be obedient to their mother. So their mother wins. The mother wins. And what does that mean that the mother wins? It is really not a victory. It is a victory that will go a long way to hurt and to damage that child for a long time to come. And that child keeps on looking back and, in anger and frustration against the mother as well. Against the mother. Not just against the father that was not there. In fact, in most of these cases, the boys, they are more annoyed at the mother than at the father that they have never seen. Because they are thinking the father didn't do anything to me, he didn't offend me, was not there, okay, but he didn't do anything. And they might even be thinking if the father had been there, he would have been better than their mother. That is a pity their father is not there. That it is because their father is not there that their mother is abusing them. And they are thinking it is an abuse. They are not looking at it as an attempt by their mother to make them a good child or to give them good upbringing. They are not looking at it as a discipline, as a way of the mother, making them to be godly children, successful children. They are looking at it as punishment. They are looking at this as oppression from the side of the mother. And they are sometimes looking at the side of the father and saying, okay, even though it's not there for me, but at least it didn't hurt me. Or maybe even if he had been there, that it wouldn't have hurt me. It wouldn't have allowed my mother to hurt me like that, or it would have protected me. So sometimes those kind of kids have anger towards their father too, but they most of the time transfer that anger also towards their mother. So you see that the mother has attained the victory. The victory, what victory does the mother have? The mother has the victory that she has been able to subdue that child. The mother has succeeded in silencing that baby. The mother is now having more peace in the house. The kid is no more running helter-skelter as he used to do before. So the woman has more peace. And the baby, the son or the child is no more as aggressive, breaking everything and turning everything upside down before. So the woman is happy. And then the child is more obedient now, because he's afraid of the punishment, he's afraid of what the mother will do to him. But at the same time, what the mother doesn't see is that he's nurturing anger inside. It's nurturing anger and frustration inside. And this happens to both the boys and the girls. But I'm talking about the boys right now. So what does that lead to? What does that lead to? That leads to a lot of other things, and I will talk about what that leads to in more details a little bit later. But these boys succeed in becoming mommy's boy, mommy's girl, or mommy's child. And everybody is praising that mother, and even the mother is praising herself, say, I'm a good mother, because other people's children are causing trouble, but my own is just quiet, it's not causing trouble, maybe it's even studying well. But there are two things that happen to them when it comes to studies. Some of them study well, but some of them don't study well as well. Some of them is the opposite. It's either right to the one extreme or to the other extreme. Either they study well just because they are good at they are used to obeying, and they want to obey the teachers, and so they study well. But they are doing it out of fear. So when they get to freedom, most of those children who are good in primary school or they were good in secondary school, they go out of schools and become a failure anyway, or they just become average students, because they are doing that just to avoid punishment or to be praised and things like that. So, but other ones, they are not able to study, because they are not able to study because they don't have peace inside. Because that peace, that affirmation that the father was supposed to bring, the father didn't bring it, and the pressure that is on that child from the mother is giving him so much tremor inside and so much panic inside. He's not even able to concentrate. He's not able to concentrate. He's not able to study, and he's doing bad in class. So that is another thing that happens to these kids when it comes to studying. But there are two ways that the mother succeeds in getting the baby to become a baby boy, a mama boy or mommy boy. Like I said, one of them is by when the mother breaks the will of that child to obedience. And that is one I've already spoken about that. But the second way boys become mommy's boys or mama boy is because is that the mother sometimes the mother could be paying too much attention. The mother could be overfeeding and overcaring for the baby. So that is another way that boys become mama's boys. Look at this photograph here. I don't know if it shows or not. Can you see the mother? Can you see the boy? Eat, my son. Oh, have you eaten? Oh, Steve. Oh, come here now. Come here, Steve. Oh, my good Steve. My son. Oh, I love you, my son. Oh, have you eaten? You've not eaten. Okay, eat. Okay, what will you like? Okay, is it chocolate? Oh, is it ice cream? Okay, no, I will get it now for you. I will get it now. Oh, don't do anything. I will do everything for you myself. I will do everything. So this is another way that mothers win obedience. This is another way mothers win submission from their children. So this is another way. And when you treat a boy like that, when you treat a boy like he cannot do anything, like the mother is always there, it becomes a feminine man. It becomes a weakling. It becomes a man, but in its character, it will be more resemblant to a woman. It will resemble a woman more than a man. So it will not look gallant. It will not look sportive. It will not look strong. It will look weak. But the way it looks in the physical is even not the problem, but the way he is inside. So it becomes those kind of boys. They are quiet, yes. They behave well, yes. They call them good boys, quiet boys. But the reason they call them good boys, quiet boys, is mainly because they are good and quiet. They are submissive. They are submissive. They do everything that the mother and authority want them to do. But then they have been killed inside. Their initiative is being ruined. Their willpower has been destroyed. Their masculine nature has been stolen away from them, and they have been more resemblant to a woman now than to a man, and there will be a catastrophe. There will be a catastrophe when they marry. If those kind of boys grow up and become a man, it is a lot of consequences, a lot of bad patterns follow their lives. A lot of bad patterns follow their lives. So you see, we have a lot of things to talk about. So you see the two different ways that we come across good boys or good child, or mama's boy, mama's girl. Mama's boy, mommy's boy. Those kind of children that we say they are good. So that is the second category. Now we are talking about the second category of boys that grew up without a father. Now the first category you already know, the aggressive ones, but these ones are the quiet, the good boy syndrome. This is the good boy syndrome, the quiet good boy syndrome. And these children, even though they grow up they look normal, they look normal, they look nice. Some of them study well, some of them behave well. They smoke so much, they don't drink, they don't become troublemakers. They are not the hooligan types. They are not the ones who become thieves and bandits and hooligans and armed robbers and drug addicts. No, their own is different. Their own is just lacking initiative. Even though they might be brilliant, they might be the most brilliant in the class, but they don't become the most successful in life. They might look okay, good, but they suffer in life more than the other people. They cannot fight for themselves, and they suffer even in their marriage life as well. So so let me tell you some of the characteristics, some of the features and characteristics of such boys who grew up without a father. But even though they are quiet, they are not like those ones who go to the street. They are not like the aggressive ones. They are not like the ones who want to remove or show their pain outside. These ones keep their pain inside. They keep it inside, and people might not see those pains sometimes. They keep it inside, and people might not value. They might not value they might not value. They might not. It's not value. They might not notice, and they might underestimate. Yeah, they might underestimate the suffering that is going on in this kind of boys. And a lot of times, this kind of children could commit suicide also because nobody understands them. They feel that nobody understands them. So, but let me tell you some of their features. When they grow up to be a man, this kind of boys, they are catastrophic for women. They are catastrophic for women because when they marry, the women are deceived easily because they are thinking, oh, he's quiet. Oh, my husband is quiet. He's so good. But that is his problem because every woman wants to marry a man. Every woman, even though wants to marry a good man, but every woman needs his wife, his husband to be strong. Every woman wants to marry a strong man. Every woman wants to feel that she is under protection, that she is following a strong personality, that she's following a man that is strong enough to take the lead. But these kind of boys, they don't like to take the lead. Every woman wants to marry a man that she knows that is strong enough to give her protection. But this man, this kind of boys, they are not strong enough to give that kind of protection. And, even though he's good, he might not be smoking, he might not be drinking, but a woman would never, it's very hardly will a woman ever be happy with this kind of man, because they don't do anything. They don't take responsibility. They let the woman become the husband. Even though the woman is the wife, but she will almost look like the husband. Because she is not doing anything. Then she will have to be the one to do it. Let me show you a picture that might give you an understanding of this kind of men. If you look at this picture, you will see that even though this guy is a grown-up man, but you see the boy inside him. So that's the problem with those kind of guys. They are men, but they remain a boy inside. They look like men, they look like grown-up in the physical, but they are really boys inside. Now, unfortunately, I think those are the kind of people people call woman rapper in Africa. Unfortunately, if you look at Africa now, to a large extent, not Africa, if you look at Europe, especially Western Europe, if you look at Western Europe, the white men are like that now. Almost 80%, maybe 70% of white male are like that. They have lost their masculinity, especially in countries like Germany, Scandinavia countries, Belgium, maybe France to some extent. A lot of white men, they are just like this. They belong in this category. Now, a lot of African men belong in the first category of, I'm talking of those ones who grew up without a father. I'm not talking about normal white men who grew up with good father, and I'm not talking about normal black men who grew up with father, also with good father. I'm talking now about white men who grew up without a father. Many of them, some of them are also like the first category, but but the first category for the white men are mainly in some of them, mainly from Eastern European countries, and but in the Western European countries, a lot of men are more like this second category. So what are the characteristics? They are the passive. They are the passive in the Western European. They have Africans are the aggressive people. But so what are the characteristics of these boys or men who grew up without fathers and have now become grown-up men? Number one, they are normally weak. They are weak men. And if you are a woman there watching this program, you will know what I mean by weak men. And if you are married, God forbid for you to be married to a weak man. To be married to a weak man is catastrophic because, everything is on your shoulder. And sometimes those kind of men are the ones who would send their wives to the market to go and work. Even though people will be telling you good things about them, they'll be saying, but he's good now. He's a good man. He's this, but he's good man, but it's not masculine. It's not masculine. It does it because he's more like a woman in a man's body because he had been broken by those two reasons I gave in the beginning. You remember, because he had either been beaten to submission by the mother, or he had been loved to submission by the mother, and so he has lost the quality to be a man. But the fact that somebody is Flair is saying because he's introvert. No, the fact that somebody is introvert doesn't mean that he's not a man. You could be an introvert and still be strong. In fact, sometimes the people who are strongest are the ones who are quieter because they could come more with resolutions. But these ones I'm talking about not just being introvert, I'm talking about being weak in character, being weak in personality, not just being quiet. I'm not talking about quietness now. I'm talking about being weak, not initiative, not aggressive, not leading, not being a leader. So that is another challenge and a problem that those kind of people, let's even leave marriage alone. Those kind of boys, they have issues in life. And the issues they have in life is that even though they might be the best, Even though they might be the best in their classes, they might study better than other children, but they don't make it in life to be the best in life. Because for you to be the best in life, you need to fight your way through. For you to be the best in life, you need a strong character. But most of them, they don't like to fight. Or when they fight, they get crushed by the world around them. Fleck Karim Matthew is saying, Pastor, that's not what I said. Okay, let me go back to see what you said. From my experience, I think it is because of this introvert, quiet, or obedient nature that those children are more likely abused everywhere. Yeah, you are right. Those are the children that get compromised, they get abused, and they become homosexuals, unfortunately. They are easily compromised to become homosexuals, or to become, some of them drink because of that, some of them smoke because of that, but most of the time they might not do bad things that are visible, because they like to sin, but they to sin quietly. They are always engaged in more quiet sins or bad things that are not going to be condemned publicly, that is not going to be seen. So these are the kind of men that are most likely going to be addicted to pornography. They might be addicted to some other sexual sins, different sexual sins, and Anyway, so they lack character, they lack boldness. They don't have boldness. And because they don't have boldness, they find it difficult to take decisions. They find it difficult to take decisions, to take serious decisions. They are always slow at taking decisions. They are always, like Jesus spoke, like the Bible talk about, they are like people who are not certain, who are always, double-minded people. They are always double-minded. They are always slow in taking decisions, and they are weaklings. They are weaklings. So, and because they don't like to take decisions, they end up working for other people. They end up working for other people, and they are always intimidated. They are most of the time ashamed, timid, fearful, and so they are not always the ones who win in life. They are good workers, they might be good workers, but they also have a problem. Many of them are so afraid of leaving the protection of their homes and their families that they become mothers, children forever. These are the kind of category of men that, even though they are grown-ups and they are 30 years old, 35 years old, or 40 years old, or 45 years old, but they are still living in their father's house. They are still living in their father's house or in their mother's house, and they are doing nothing. Most of them, they are working, they work and they chase them from work. They lose their jobs all the time. And when they lose their job, they don't go to keep on looking for the job. They just sit down at home, and their mother or their parents are taking care of them. If their mother and parents not the one taking care of them, then they find a wife. They find a wife that will become like their mother, that will treat them like a mother, like a son, and that will be doing everything for them. Those are the kind of wives they look for. Or it's horrible. It's a horrible situation. So these kind of people have been broken inside, and they have that kind of anger, but they don't express it openly. They just keep it inside themselves. It's very difficult for them to really be hugely successful. Even when they become successful, a lot of times they lose their success because they are withdrawn, and success must be maintained. And when you are withdrawn, you cannot always maintain your success. These are the kind of men that all family members are always telling to go to work. Go and get a job, go and get a job. Everybody's always convincing them to go and get a job, to go and work, that you are brilliant, you are this, you are that, go and do this, go and do that. And even when it comes to marriage, this kind of men, most of the time, they might not even be bold enough to go and approach a woman. They might not even be bold enough to go and approach a woman. it's normally the woman that will approach them, or somebody will set them up, or somebody has to help them to get a wife. Or some of them get drunk. They first of all have to drink, and it's only after they drink they get boldness to go and talk to a girl. Some of them also, they have to drink before they go to discotheque or to socialize. So even though they are quiet, but they might become drunkards and drug addicts, because for them to just function and to be bold enough, they have to do all that. So all these kind of things are things that happen to men that grew up without a father, but by a mother or a single parent, and even though the father was there maybe, but he never acted as a father. The man might be in the house, but it was never a pillar, it was never a foundation, and he didn't play his role. And these are the kind of things that happen to this kind of men. These are the kind of things that happen to this kind of men. It's sad, but tonight, I will talk about by the way, if you have not shared this link yet, let's go ahead and share the link. Let's go ahead and share the link to this program. Let's go ahead and share the link to this program, please. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about this type of men, this kind of withdrawn, slow, good, so-called good men. I'm going to be talking about this category, the pattern of behavior of this kind of men to women, and how what women can do, and how, the pattern of behavior of these men and women. So what should be the right attitude, the right relationship of these men and women? What is the relationship of these men and women? What is the relationship of these men and women? So that's what we're going to be talking about later on. Effeminate men. They become effeminated. They become effeminated, unfortunately.